Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another RPG News Roundup, this time for January 25th, 2025, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop, computer, and console role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. And because I'm once again on a time crunch, I'm going to forgo the usual thumbnails on things. My apologies, I've been very busy. As always, I will start with computer and console role-playing game news. Sandbox RPG Vampire Dynasty has been renamed to Vampire Bloodlord. It looks like it's going to get an updated look as well that will hopefully set apart from the existing Dynasty. It's not a series, it's like a franchise because they're independently developed, but oh well. Then Those Who Rule is set to release on January 27th. It will be a turn-based tactical RPG where you play a fresh set of recruits while war begins to loom over the land. Kamibako Mythology of the Cube is set to release next week on the 29th. It'll target the PC, PS4, PS5, as well as the Switch. And it'll combine crafting, puzzles, and turn-based combat. Whispers of the Eyeless is set to release into early access on January 30th. It'll be a dark fantasy strategy RPG where you lead a cult. Keep Driving is set to launch on February 6th. It is a road trip RPG set in the early 2000s in a procedurally generated world. Roguelike action RPG Sworn is hitting early access on February 6th. It is set in an alternate Camelot where you are set to find the source of what corrupted King Arthur. Why is it wrong to try to pick up dungeons in? Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Familia Myth, Full Land of Water and Light, has been delayed. It was slated for February 27th and it will now launch on March 13th, targeting the PC and the Switch. The delay was not to, smooth anything out, but just to have it release after the last episode of the anime airs because it picks up the storyline thereafter. So there you go. Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade has its release date set. It'll set on April 24th and target the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, and the Switch. It is set in a fantasy version of the Edo period, and it'll cover the different protagonists therein. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is set to release on April 24th. It'll target the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X/S. Fuga Melodies of Steel 3 is set to hit on May 29th. It'll target the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch, and will continue after the events of the first two entries in the series, but have a reworked combat system. As far as actual releases go, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth saw its release. It is a continuation of the trilogy of remakes of Final Fantasy VII. Then there is Sword of the Necromancer Resurrection, a remake of the original Sword of the Necromancer game, except in a 3D action RPG style. Mercenaries Lament Requiem of the Silver Wolf saw its release. It is the latest in the Mercenaries series of tactical role-playing games. Then there is Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist. It is a Metroidvania with RPG elements that follows up on the events of Ender Lilies. Few Nights More is a turn-based roguelike with a vampire theme where vampire lords look to conquer their various territories. Shalnor Silverwind Saga is one of those semi-3D, I guess they call them HD 2D, pixel-based RPG adventures where you explore a dangerous island. Disorder is a 3D roguelike dungeon crawler where you play a girl who has lost her memory trying to escape a ruined store. Dokapon Sword of Fury is a casual JRPG where you look to become the wealthiest at the end of the game. It does have online play. Then there is The Curse of Mount Madre, an action JRPG with a sort of Wild West theme. Ultimate Barbarian is a 2D action game with roguelike and RPG elements where you're in a world of barbarians, so becoming the ultimate one, I guess. And finally, there is Rogue Zodiacs, a turn-based roguelike with numerous relics, locations, hazards, and so forth. And now, on towards tabletop gaming news. It looks like Evil Genius Games is looking to take down some bad press they had, and supposedly they threatened a lawsuit against N-World for publishing some articles a couple years ago, and then they were linked by somebody. I don't know. It got very confusing, and then they apparently sent a follow-up email to N-World or something that quickly backed down and say they did not, in fact, intend to file suit, which is okay, whatever. The entire situation is really stupid. You'd think that they would have known better because I did read those articles in the past. I think I covered them here, and it just wasn't a huge deal to me. And honestly, most people probably forgot them until they were dug up and they made a stink of it. Even so, people have to dredge it up and talk about it again, even those that don't necessarily have a dog in the race. PR, if you've got articles of bad press, that pretty much everybody has forgotten about. Don't call attention to them. Okay, there you go. Now, onwards towards less stupid news. The Fallout RPG is getting a digital rules compendium through the Demiplane service. It will join several other RPGs such as Pathfinder, Alien, Cyberpunk, Red, and so forth. A number of them were based on the Modifius 2D20 engine, so that's interesting. Onwards towards a minor and PDF releases, it looks like AAW Games has a few offerings in their mini dungeon series. And I'm going to cover a lot of things in various groups and try to get through this pretty quick today, as I say, spending more time explaining it than I should have. Anyway, there is Mini Dungeons Tome 2 for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, a collection of mini dungeons that run with that system. Then they have a few individual mini dungeon offerings for 5th Edition. There's Mini Dungeon number 312 of Crystal and Bone, number 313, Expect the Worst, and number 314, Tarlovan's Tomb. Steamforged Games has a large number of offerings for the Iron Kingdom's setting and system, compatible with 5th Edition. I believe it's like its own thing, but compatible with it, so... There's Iron Kingdom's Requiem, the role-playing game. That's the main book. Then there's a large number of supplements and adventures of Borderlands and Beyond, then Borderlands Survival Guide. Into the Deep Wild, then Into the Deep Wild Expeditions. There is the Monsternomicon, and then Into the Wild, Monsternomicon: The Lost Pages. Then there's the Legend of the Witchfire, Nightmare Empires, Tales from the Blackwater Cantina, which I think is several adventures, and then Shadow of the Seeker. All right, I think they've got some like epic encounters in there too, but those are like little one encounter things. Anyway, Goblin Glory, the Relic of Skarak's Three Talons, is a 5th edition compatible adventure where you play goblins on a quest to retrieve a legendary relic from some ruins. Beyond the Horizon is an exploration and mystery adventure for 5th edition, dealing with hunting down a beast when things take a turn for the worst. The Ironclad Ogre is a 5th edition adventure where a villager has disappeared and an ogre in mismatched armor is blamed. Deimos Infinitum has 2 offerings for 5th edition, both adventures, I believe. There is In Their Veins and Smile Villain. The Lord of Rotten Ruin is a 5th edition adventure, ideal for new players and DMs, supposedly, which features a classic dungeon. Ironwick Steam Shadows and Sorcery is a 5th edition steampunk campaign world with a dash of gothic horror. Mutated Animals for Post-Apocalypse 5th edition is exactly what it says on the tin, a collection of mutated animal stat blocks stated for 5th edition. Legendary Games has conversions of a few of their monster books, this time for Tales of the Valiant. There's Mythos Monsters, Asian Monsters, and Sea Monsters. Dragon Peak Publishing has a couple of adventures, some for Dungeon Crawl Classics, some for Mutant Crawl Classics. There is Lullaby of the Volcanic Worm, Bloody Barbershops and Sanguine Scissors, and Marauders of the Multiverse. The Defiled Chapter is a mini-adventure designed for Shadowdark, dealing with a defiled chapel, with horrors being planned underneath. Then Appendix N Entertainment has a few offerings for Shadowdark. There is Creature Companion, a collection of creatures for that system, and Of Lesser Gods, which is a collection of gods and their followers for Shadowdark. Stygiana, the Land of Ice and Plunder, I believe it might be Stygiana, is a setting for Old School Essentials Advanced with complete details on the nation, a northerly nation, new race and class details on the giant gods. It is associated with the Brownhaven campaign setting, so an expansion to that. Pestilence at Halathvorn is an adventure suited for 1st edition compatible OSR systems, dealing with various warring cults and lost civilizations. It is associated with the Gunderhalfen Mega Dungeon setting. Treasure Vaults of the Twilight Dragon is an OSR style adventure dealing with the ruins of an underground fortress in which a dragon lies. Folio, Volume 2 from Jeremy Hart, offers a set of creatures with requisite art and tokens and so forth for OSR systems. It is a promotional copy of a current copy on Kickstarter, so there's that. A Magical Addiction is an adventure for the Osric system and similar 1st edition compatible OSR systems where townsfolk have taken up a dangerous new habit. Walking with Darkness is a third-party supplement for Dragonbane, which offers new professions, new magic schools, new spells, new monsters, etc. Age of Ambition, Strange Bedfellows is a campaign with 7 scenarios for the Age of Ambition tabletop RPG, but also includes stuff, associated stuff for ruling a domain, things like that. Onyx Path has a few supplements for Mage 20th Anniversary. There is Forgotten and Forbidden Orders and Faces of Magic. Then Renegade Game Studios has Hunter the Reckoning, Monster Hunting 101, an adventure for the Hunter system. There's a Werewolf, the Apocalypse, Crude Earth, another adventure, this time for a werewolf. And separately, they also have a few adventures for the Essence 20 systems. There's Transformers, Yesterday to Today, and Power Rangers to the Moon and Back. Prisoners of the Black Box, Faculty and Staff Members is a supplement for Mutants and Masterminds Amazing Universe that details an agency that can imprison various superpowered beings when they're caught. Finally, Catalyst Game Labs has some sourcebooks and adventures for Shadowrun. There's Lethal Harvest, White Takes Red, and Captured Pawns, Fractured Bonds. And with that, we'll move into crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee you'll even receive a product mentioned here is not an endorsement, it is for informational purposes only. And one computer and console campaign caught my eye this time. Abyss 2 will be a dark-themed action RPG set for release on the PC. It is going to actually be based on and continue the story of a previously released mobile game, Abyss. Into the tabletop campaigns, there is The Dead Dies, which will be a one-shot murder mystery for 5th edition. The Ruined Seeker will be a new 5th edition class which seeks to use unique magic systems with a deep customization. Marco Polo's Legacy for 5th edition will be a campaign based on the travels of Marco Polo to China. London Gothic Westminster Wolves will be a 5th edition based 3-act campaign set in Victorian London. Guilds of Shadow and Gold look to be a resource for thieves guilds and similar rogues for pretty much any fancy tabletop RPG, although it will include 5th edition based material. The Fishing Experience will be a set of rules for 5th edition fishing for 5th edition, exactly what it says. Dark Visions will be an expansion for Shadow Dark, detailing 16 cults and 3 adventures, along with associated GM and player resources. A thrall to the ever-hungering Ghoul Sword will be an OSR offering from Cubicle 7 with a theme of brutality and bloodshed. Glum Dark looks to be a grim resource for dark fantasy tabletop RPGs, like a whole mix of material based on glumdark.com. Hell Green will be a solo tabletop RPG based on jungle delving with an idea of exploring and surviving. Covenant Crucible Beyond will be an expansion to the Covenant Crucible Modern Witchcraft tabletop RPG, involving the ability to play shifters, vampires, and other supernatural beings. Era Shark Ninja will be a tabletop RPG based on the Era system, featuring mutants and robots in a diesel punk world. This world summons too many heroes. Looks like it's going to be fun an isekai power fantasy tabletop RPG in a world where new heroes and demons are being reincarnated constantly. Car Quest looks to be a solo tabletop RPG where you're a gig economy driver dealing with 1 gig at a time in a very random world. Finally, there's Pyramids of Insanity, which will be a solo sci-fi adventure RPG where you explore alien pyramids. And on that note, I'm going to wrap things up here. As always, I will put links below if you like what you see. Remember to leave a like, comment, your feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. And I do have, I'm always, I need to upload some reviews. I got a couple up now. Yeah, so they will be made public. I'll put them out to the patrons as always first, and then they'll go up there. And then I will be posting some more Might and Magic 3 on the secondary channel. I've already got that queued up. But I'm going to have to take this next week off because my mother is going in for final procedures for her heart issue, so hopefully that'll get repaired. Hopefully everything goes well. I'm just hoping. But I'll be doing the hospital thing pretty much back and forth all of next week. So not going to be able to put out... I say I'm not going to be able to put out as many videos, but I'm going to be able to do my Friday RPG News Roundup as long as everything goes well. So I just haven't been putting out a lot of videos. I got to admit, now real talk time, I got to admit, it's been really difficult for me. Some of you may have noticed a bunch of D&D channels and such going down. It's a combination of things. Number one, I know I haven't been putting out that many videos, therefore my views have been going down. But even the ones that are usually linked, that have been pretty static in terms of their they bring in a certain number of views every year, and they've been up there for damn near a decade. Even those have slowed down. So something in the fundamental algorithm has changed. A lot of D&D creators are calling it completely quits. I just find it really hard to stay motivated to go above and beyond to do a lot of stuff when my new junk, well, I'm not saying new, it's been up for a couple of years, when my Let's Play channel, where I can throw a few videos up, is not growing that fast, but it's still growing much faster than this main channel I've been working on for many years. So it's like, I'm not going to quit, but it's really super hard to stay motivated when I go on there and say, oh, you've got 1 subscriber in the last month, and you're making like half of the pitiful views I used to have before. So I'm like, So I'll try to put some more stuff up, but I'm not going to abandon it. But yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to stay motivated. I got to concentrate on the health stuff. Thanks for bearing with me for this rambling. Sorry about that. Try and get together with some new design stuff. We'll go ahead and throw some more videos up this coming year, and see what happens. See if it even becomes a thing. Anyway, until next time, Take care and goodbye.
And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribestar, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.